Hello and welcome to the second part of this video series where I'm going to be going over loading up and starting your projects in DDO. Let's get to it. So here I have Quixel loaded up and I'm just going to hit the DDO button to start my project creator. So it has a bunch of different options and we'll go through each one of these to load up our files. First thing off is the mesh, so we're going to load that one up. So you're going to want to have a project folder for all of your stuff. Inside of here, I'm just going to have an inputs folder. This is going to store all of my files that I'm going to load up into the project. And then this other folder is where my DDO working files are going to be. So inputs has my OBJ, my AO file, the PNG color ID map, normals, and object space stuff. And here's the stuff I just created before. So let's load that up in DDO. So first thing here is your mesh. So we'll load that up. Navigate to your folder, go to inputs, and your OBJ. Open that up and it will load everything in here. If you have multiple materials in your group for your mesh, it will list them here in this mesh group section. This tutorial is only going to be going over one mesh group type. It's much easier to work with, especially when you're starting out. Next one is all the different maps that you can load in here. The first section, these two here are pretty important, which are your material ID, which we just finished creating, and your normals. So whatever you use to bake out everything, you'd need to have this really to get started. Otherwise, it's not going to get all that nice information that you'd like. So click on the little thumbnail, and it will bring up your Windows Explorer to find your file. And now let's click on normals, find that file. Load up each one of these. If you have an AO map, this is an optional map, but it does help it a lot. So I'll have that there. And the next couple maps have the option for 3Do just to bake it on its own. So if you don't have this particular map, that's okay. Just click on the Bake in 3Do. I happen to have an object space normal map already. Just going to load that one in. And I don't have a curvature, so I'm going to have bake that in 3Do, and gradient, I don't have that one either. If you had a height map, you could put it in here. If you already had your texture kind of started and you want to use that as a base, you can input your pre-baked albedo or diffuse. Also for your specular, it has all these different ones, so if you have something kind of started already, you can input them right onto this spot and it'll be much easier to use. So now before I go further, I do want to talk about the object space normal map here. The object space normal map, it shows the colors of all of your object. It kind of tells the Quixel which side is right, which one is left, up, and down. Because it's based in the world space or your object space, it all tells it what direction. And this becomes important if you want to have grunge that's all coming up from the bottom. Say like you have a vehicle and it's really muddy out. You want to just have all of this mud splatter on the bottom section. You could use the positioning of your object space normal map. Everything in this like green channel is going to have that mud. Alright, so we're done loading in our maps on this section here. So let's set the resolution here. 40 and 96 is pretty high. I'm going to start a little bit lower. You can go pretty high, but for this demo, I just want it to go a little bit faster, so 1024 will work fine for me. And this next one is Texel Density. And Texel Density just really says how many pixels per square meter your texture has. It gives the object a real-world scale because it's using a lot of other images. It will help determine what size those images should be going at. So you don't have to play around with the scale of those as much if you have the right Texel Density to this. If you don't quite know what that is, you can just set it to auto. That will be fine for this. Next, you can set the ID presets. So if you want to use specific colors for your color ID map, already kind of have it set up to, you always use blue for metals or something along those lines. You could have it automatically load those things in. We're not going to be doing that. It just associates a specific hue to a material type. And the next important thing is your export target, because Quixel can do PBR and a lot of different types. Any sort of game engine can have specific outputs for it, so you can specify what that would be. Like if you're using UDK, if you're using Unity, what are you exporting it out to? You can load it in here and we'll get all of those presets. For this one, I'm going to use last gen non-PBR because I just want to use specular and gloss, but not like albedo, roughness, metalness maps. I just want specular and gloss, so last gen is what we want to set it to. You can also work in 16-bit per channel. I'm not going to have that on there though. Last thing is where you're putting your file. Where is the project? Where is everything going to be saved? Because it's going to make a lot of different files and you want to have a folder that it will go into. So click the three little dots and you can put wherever you want it to. By default, it's going to be wherever you put your input meshes from, and since they were all in inputs, that's where they went. But I actually want this to be in projects. I'll click on that and hit OK. So I want all of my files in there. And that should be all of the settings that I need to change on this. So I'll click create and it will do its little thing, thinking about it, and it'll have, the image will change quite a bit as it's thinking about this and loading up all the maps. So just give it some time. There we go. It's done. Let's get started. And I don't see much. I just see a gray image here. But you will notice I have a lot of different tabs up in here. Each one of these corresponds to the different maps that I'm working with, because I can work on these all at the same time, which is really, really useful. I want to stick with this panel right here though, and this thing, when I right click on these tabs, it just brings me all to the tabs that are up here, just kind of a quick link to them. And it's better to do this in here just so Quixel knows what you're doing. So in the next video I'll be going more over this. For now, I'm just going to hit 3Do and we'll look at our object without any textures. It just has normals and our color ID maps. Alright, looking pretty cool. I will see you in the next video.